Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Principal Chiropractic broadcast, sponsored by DE and sponsored by Band of Brothers around the world. Now, listen, a lot of us are just still marinating from the last DE. A little maybe exhausted, definitely marinating from the love that I experienced, and just the vibration was off the charts. One of the guys that is our speaker tonight is Dan Tew. And the reason why Dan is speaking tonight is he had all kinds of flight troubles and couldn't make it. And so we didn't want to miss his ability to share with us. So he's kind of filled in for tonight. That's two DEs in a row that things had to happen that he couldn't make it. So we just agreed that the next time, the Tuesday after DE, he's not speaking because he's going to come and be with us live. Those of you who did come live, I just really appreciate the vibration in the room was awesome. So thank you for being there. The people who were there for the live stream, I hope you felt the vibration that I felt in that room. And those who didn't make it, shame on you. Make it to the July DE. The next one is July. I believe it is let me look at that. Yeah, 17th through the 20th of July, back in Atlanta. And that's going to be at the Marriott in I can't think of what it's called, but yeah, it's in Atlanta, the same hotel we've been going the last few times at the Marriott, at the Battery, not the Battery, the other one. I'm sorry, I should have looked that up. But July 17th to 20th, register, get your hotel room now, and again, between now and July 17th, we got a lot of time, so make sure you plug in your groups, your teams, and get engaged, get involved, celebrate your victories. And if you have any struggles, make sure you reach out to your group. There will be people there to love you through it. All right, with no further ado, let's give it up for the GCC president and the father of two great kids and the husband of an awesome chiropractic rocking DE wife from Alpharetta, Georgia. Give it up for Dan Tew. Love you, man.
Hey, what is up, DE? What's up, everybody? First of all, I just want to always start with an attitude of gratitude. I'm always honored to share with you guys, with my DE family, whether it's at DE or on one of these calls or any other platform. It's always just such an honor to be here with you guys tonight. As Andy mentioned, and I'm sure if you were at DE, you may or may not have noticed, but our family wasn't able to make it. It wasn't from a lack of trying, that's for sure. We, like Andy mentioned, we were not at the previous DE, which is super strange for us. To miss one and certainly to miss two in a row is super duper strange. I've been coming to DE for 15 years and 15 and a half years. And I think that this is my fourth or fifth one in that time that I haven't been to. So to miss one, like I said, is weird for us, but to miss two in a row is definitely super strange. I don't think I know I haven't been separated from DE for more than 3 months at a time in the last 15 years, and from all of you awesome people. So I just want to say thank you, Andy. Thank you to the DE board for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it. And I will tell you this, that missing DE for me, we don't take it lightly. We only do it whenever there's an absolute reason. But normally if it happens, we know that the 3 months down the road, we're coming in hot to the next one. And that was my plan here. And then, just basically, a huge storm sat over top of Atlanta. I was in the airport from 7 in the morning until 7 in the afternoon until 2 in the morning, trying to get out on a flight, and it just wasn't in the cards. And then I had to be back really early Saturday morning to be at my son's baseball game. So long story short, I just want to tell you guys that at least for me, being separated for that long definitely takes a little bit of a toll on me. I always rely on you guys, and I texted Drew the day before DE, and I just said, man, I'm coming. I asked him if I could powwow with him about some things in the office and how he does things, because I'm always trying to learn. I'm trying to learn from my mentors, and he's definitely one of them. And I said, man, I'm coming this time. I come every time to give and to receive whatever I can. But I was just like, man, I definitely want to come, and I want to learn. I want to get really intent on what I'm doing in my practices and in my life. And I was just super excited to come. So when we couldn't, it was definitely a big bummer for me. But it also was a very good reminder to me, just how valuable the DE community is, and just how valuable each and every one of you guys have been, and instrumental that you have been in my life, not just in my practice life, but in my personal life, in my marriage, in the way that I handle and raise my kids. All of those things that are vitally, vitally important to me. I have learned or been influenced by the people at DE and in the DE community. I know that, just about anybody I know there is a nothing more than a phone call away, or a text message, or a Facebook message. And I've literally never had, one of my friends or mentors at DE ever turn me away when I was in a time of need, or whenever I needed questions answered, or what have you. So I guess I say all of that to say, number one, if you've been coming here for a bit, and you might be having those thoughts creep in that, hey, maybe I can start skipping one or skipping two, or maybe this is more important than DE. Just remember, where you got your foundation, and where you got probably a lot of the questions that you needed answered at the time that you started coming, to propel you into a amazing life. That this really is your home, and we love to see you, and we want to see you, and we want to be there to celebrate whenever you grow, and we want to be there to help you whenever you're not growing. And I'm 100% talking to me, because there were things, questions that I wanted answered this time around, that now I'll have to get them answered in a different way. But I mean, I'm always growing, and I'm always changing, um, and I'm always trying to do things better. I'm never changing away from the principle. The principle of chiropractic, in my opinion, is the absolute bedrock. So when you come to any of our offices, that's what you're going to get dealt. So I just want to say, to before I move on from this, is just that I really do truly love and appreciate you all. Every single one of you that I've ever been to at DE, certainly the people that have just endlessly poured into me. Most of you who are watching this, or may watch it later, probably already know that I essentially try to credit, DE and the things that I learned there with the direction that my life has ultimately gone. And and I can tell you that it's a beautiful life that we have built, but it wouldn't have been possible without the things that I learned through the Dynamic Essential, and through the relationships and the connections that I made there. So I just want to urge you, as an individual, no matter how long you've been coming here, just remember, you know how important this place is, and these relationships are, and the information that you learn here is, important for you to have a successful life, however you choose to measure that, but also important, because that's the information that we bring back to our communities. That's the love that we bring back to our communities. That's the message that we bring back to our communities. And if we're not constantly getting dipped in it and being fresh in it, then unfortunately, none of us are impermeable. So unfortunately, the world can absolutely start to wear you down. The trials and struggles can start to wear you down. So for me, this is my place to be dipped, and my place to be renewed chiropractically, and spiritually. And so, I would just, encourage you to remember that about this awesome thing that we call Dynamic Essentials. So, and in kind of thinking about what I wanted to share tonight, I can be honest, I didn't really have a ton of time to think about this talk. And I usually finalize my DE talks while I'm listening to people at DE, which I didn't have a lot of opportunity to do this time around. So in thinking about what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight, First and foremost, it was just to let you guys in on some insight from a guy that's been absent from it now for 6 months, and what it's meant to me, and I hope I conveyed that well. But the next part was, when I was thinking about what, like, what do I want people to hear, or what do I want to hear, in a message right now. And I think, just because maybe we've been separated a little bit from DE, and maybe because, we are entering into a whole new world right now in terms of like our family and our family dynamics. My son is playing hardcore baseball. I mean, like, he plays on two different leagues right now. So we are just going all the time to that stuff. And so my time has become a little bit more scarce. And I remember when I spoke to you guys last time, after missing the last DE, my thought, or my message, a lot of my message was to, sit back and think about the changes that you need to make, and then actually make them. And for me, one of them this year was to I've been working ever since we found out my son's going to be 7 here pretty soon, and ever since we found out that my wife was pregnant, or very shortly after, we switched to where I was working at both of our offices, so we each have an office. And she was going to step away for a while, because we knew that that would ultimately happen. And so I was working 6 days a week, and I did that for almost 7 years. And now with my kids coming into this new kind of, exciting and very busy lifestyle that they're starting to lead, I just said, hey man, I can't miss everything, and I can't keep taking away from my family. When I take away from my family, I can't give back to my patients 100%. And so, at the beginning of the year, we cut out 1 day a week, which was for me a Saturday, which was just a half day, but it gave me Friday evening, Saturday, and all day Sunday to be with my family. And at first, I got to be honest, it was pretty scary. Like, it was something that I wasn't sure I was ever really going to do. And just because we saw, for you people that have family practices and you practice on Saturday, it definitely was like, hey, wow, like this could really take a hit on our business and on how many people we're able to serve, so on and so forth. But anyway, we made the decision, and January 1st we cut that out. And so, I just want you to know, just give you an update on that. Yeah, sure, there's like a learning curve with all of that. We also lost staff members at the time. I mean, it's just all the stuff that happens. But when you make a decision and you stick to it, eventually you start to adapt to that, and you start to see the fruit of that decision. For me, now, for the last couple of months here, I've had more time with my family than I've had in the last 5 or 6 years. It's made me a more fulfilled father and a more fulfilled husband, which makes me a more loving person in my office. And as a result of that change, a couple months later now, once we've had that time to kind of rectify what we did and adapt to those things, everything's starting to grow back. It's growing back to where it was, and I see it, I envision it as being the biggest and best growth period in our entire life, this year. And I have absolutely no doubt that that's going to happen. So, to follow up with what we talked about, or what I talked about last time, is like, if you're still struggling to make those decisions, it's time just to make them. Like, it's time to make those heavy and hard decisions. If you're not growing in practice right now, or you've always struggled to grow in practice, or you're not growing in other areas of your life, I got to be honest, like, I would say that most people don't need another, like, procedure, or another manual, or another, even honestly, like, even like another coaching thing, or another mentor that they have to get on the phone with. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I have mentors that I get on the phone with every week. But I'm just saying, most of the time, 9+% out of 10, I would say that we all know the things that are getting in our way, and we're just too afraid to change them, or we're too stubborn to change them, um, or whatever it might be. And so, my encouragement to you would be to sit down, get quiet, okay? Think about the things that will make the biggest change in your impact in how you want to change your life. Sit down and write those things down. And I guarantee it's probably not going to be a lot. It's probably going to be one or two big things that you know that you need to change. And then what I want you to do is just sit there with those things and say, am I willing to give them up? Okay. Am I willing to change them? Am I willing to do X, Y, and Z? And think about your end goal during that time and say, is giving up this or changing this worth getting my end goal, my true like vision for my life and for my family's life and for my practice and for all these different things? And see that and like weigh those two things out. And if it is like, if it's worth giving this up to get to where you really want to be, then it's time to just close the door on whatever that thing is and just shut it out of your life, completely get rid of it, change it, do whatever you need to do, but make the big decision. As Dr. Sid used to say, it's time just to turn the corner on those things so that you can have a much more fulfilled and peaceful life. Okay. At the end of the day, I really believe that what most of us are seeking and what most of us are trying to accomplish in our life, if you really break it down, really just comes down to having a peaceful life where you feel fulfilled through your purpose. Okay, you're not living a stressful life, you're not living this crazy life, this hectic life necessarily. You're feeling fulfilled, you're feeling like you're doing your part, the part that God put you here to do. You're doing that part in your daily activities. You're doing all those things. You're supporting your community. You're supporting your family. You're building your practice. You're having an impact. You're doing the things that really make you special and make who you are. And so I think that if most of us could get to that point in life, everything would grow around us. Everything would grow, and you would just continue to get like that renewed sense of peace and joy and fulfillment. So make the tough decisions. I was thinking about today is like what a blessing, a true blessing it is to be a chiropractor. To be, and especially if you consider yourself to be a principled chiropractor, okay? Someone who's not just trying to help people with whatever their X, Y, and Z thing is that brought them into your office, but a person that's trying to truly help people to change their outlook on life, to change their existence in life. I had a new patient today, and within an hour of her leaving the office, she just left us this great little review. It wasn't even all that long. It just said, Dr. Dan seems very attentive and loving, and he explains everything every step of the way that he's going to be doing. And he even explained to me about my nervous system and how it controls my whole body, and helps my body to heal and to function the way it should, something of that nature. And I just thought, man, what an amazing thing. Like, this person came into my office, and within an hour of time, they basically got a whole new spin on the way that their body works and how their body can heal and how their body can function. And it was just simply from me telling the story that I learned over and over and over and over again at DE, and I learned from my mentors. And it's a very simple message. So I was just thinking about, man, what a blessing it is to just be a principled chiropractor. You truly get to go out into the community, to go out into your world, to go out into your sphere of influence. You get to go out and you get to quite literally change the way that people think, the way that they view reality, the way that they understand the way that things work, not only inside their body, but even from the external, like how the world works and how intention can play a difference. I had another lady today who came in, and she was just bawling her eyes out. She's just the sweetest woman. And Her husband's recently been diagnosed with some form of dementia, and they've both been patients a long time, and there's just a limitation of matter there for him, but she was just so sad. And I just sat there, and I just talked to her, and I just hugged her, and I just loved on her, and of course I adjusted her, I checked her, and I adjusted her. But I gotta tell you, she wasn't in there today for any reason except for she just needed to feel some presence of love. She just needed to be able to cry in a safe place, and to be able to express herself, and to have somebody say, hey, you know it's going to be okay. I know that this is tough. We're going to love you through it. And we'll do anything that we can to help you. And she said, well, that's the thing, is like, I actually think I'm going to need to cancel my care here. She's been coming for years. I mean, this lady's probably been under care for 10 years in my office. She said, I'm just having so much of a hard time with my husband right now. I can't get him to do anything. We're definitely like progressing through that. And then somehow didn't even know that this was possible. Didn't know that this was a real thing. But apparently Medicare dropped him, or dropped part of his care that he was receiving, because of how his diagnosis is classified. Whatever. Basically, they're just not having a good time right now. And so, I just hugged her up and I loved on her. And of course, we did the DE thing, which was to say, listen, Karen, you're going to come here every week for the rest of your life. If you never get back on top financially, it doesn't matter to me. We're going to cancel your payments here, but I expect that you get here as often as you possibly can. And it's just that little thing that we learned at DE, to give, to love, and to serve out of our own abundance with no expectations of return. And so it just hit me again, literally from two different perspectives today, on how amazing it is to be a chiropractor, where people that you've never met can come in, they can hear from you, and they can trust you. And then people that come in that have been there for 10 years, they come in and they cry to you and they love to you, and they ask you for your opinions, and they ask you for your help, and you give it to them, without any hesitation. And it just really hit me, like, just how blessed we are to help people. I mean, our literal whole mission as principled chiropractors is to help people. And the funny story about, not funny, but like curious perspective from my patient that was trying to cancel her care today, um, was that throughout the whole conversation of her explaining to me why, she said to me probably 5 times, she said, I know it's not fair to you and to your family for me to stop paying you, because you rely on this for your business, and you've always taken such good care of us for such an affordable price. And I was just like, man, this woman literally has her husband at home, probably nearing a transition at some point very soon, someone that she has loved for the last 60 years. And here she is, she's worried about the couple of $1,000 a year that she gives me and my family, to the point where she's crying and saying she's sorry. And I'm just like, man, these people in our offices, if you do it right, these people in your offices truly do become family, and they love you, and they support you, and they ask for your support, and it's literally like extending your own family out into the community. And the beautiful thing is that you get to help them every day, and they get to help you every day, and it's just this awesome symbiotic, like, environment that you create, um, full of people that you love and that love you. And so I just want to share, those things with you. And like, the blessings obviously go to every other place as well. When I think about how much chiropractic has impacted my life, one of the biggest things I think about is my kids. I mean, my goodness, like, we raise our kids through a principled chiropractic standpoint, to the point where, for the most part, we've never had to have much of an intervention, with the exception of one issue that my son had a year ago. And I'm not saying if your kids have had to needed more of that somehow makes you less principled. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying that we have been so blessed that our kids have been so healthy, and that the way that we raise them, and is such an awesome, like, connected manner, um, that I would have never had if I did not become a principled chiropractor. Okay, you guys see it. You see your families coming in, the people that have been living in the medical model, and have been living in that way of life, their whole lives, and now they're starting to procreate, and they have their kids, and now their kids are having the same issues that they were having. And it's like, man, we got to sidestep all of that, simply because, you know, I decided to go to chiropractic school, and go to school for a couple of years, and then meet all of you awesome people at DE. And all of that was going on for 10 years before I ever had the opportunity to get married, and have my own kids. And I got to learn the things. I heard Dean Satilli probably 15 years ago. He said, man, I would pay my student loans a second time if it just meant that I got to learn what I got to learn, so that I could raise my kids in a particular manner. And now that I have children, and I have a wife, and I have a family, that it's ultimately my responsibility, or at least mostly mine, to make sure that things are happening the way that they should. It's like, man, what a blessing chiropractic is now to us, be in a completely different way, more than just making us feel good, helping people, more than just, growing that external, internal family that we have in our offices, all of that stuff. Way more than that. Like, I get to help my kids sidestep so many issues and so many problems that other kids are dealing with simply because their parents don't know. And it's not even their fault. They've just been fed a line of BS for decades and decades and decades about what health is. And I get the privilege to raise my kids right from day one, all the way through whenever my responsibility there is over, in a very principled, specific way. And I'm just so thankful for that. Like, I am so, so thank you for that. And then on top of it, like, on top of all of that, you ultimately have limitless earning potential. You have limitless success potential from, like, a worldly view standpoint. Okay. If you tap out, like, you get to your level where you can't do anymore, you can't make any more, but you have that drive to see more people, to help more people, to make more money, to put more money into your whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have the ability to do that. You create the systems, you create the people around you that will support you, and you can support them, and you hire associates, and you hire more staff, and whatever you have to do. But you basically have, start a franchise, whatever. You basically have a carte blanche, like, hey, like, just write in what you want, tell God, tell the universe, tell whatever, focus on it, work towards it. And there's really not a lot that you can accomplish through the vehicle of chiropractic financially. It's amazing. So when you put all those pieces together, it's like, holy moly. Like, so I get to build this family in my office who all love me and I love them, and we help and support each other. I get to learn about this principle thing, and I got to teach it to a whole bunch of people that then go out, and that has the impact that they need in their sphere of influence. And then it also taught me how to raise my kids, and how to be a better spouse, and how to be a better person, and all of these different aspects of, like, the relationship aspect that we have. And then on top of it, you get to make all the money that you want. Like, you get to just, like, live this king lifestyle. If you decide that that's what you want, you get to live this lifestyle, and you put it all together, and it's like, man, what else could you possibly want to do with your life than to, especially if you're already a chiropractor, what would more do you want than just to be a principled chiropractor that's helping a boatload of people, that then is, in turn, you're getting rewarded for it. And because you're in such an abundant place in life, whenever your people come to you and they say, hey, I just can't do it anymore, it's a financial thing, I'll come back whenever I have money, you have the mindset and the mentality that you're abundant and you're going to help them out anyway. And you just keep that giving, receiving, flowing, loving circle going in your life. It's just like, to me, it's just an unparalleled experience. And 15 years into it, I might be changing things up in the way I do things, and I might be opening up more time for my family and for my kids. But I can tell you that there's absolutely nothing that I would want to do more than serve the community through this vehicle of principled chiropractic. So I hope that you can grasp onto that. I know most of you probably already have. You probably all doing it better than me, to be honest with you. I'm always amazed when I get to spend some more one-on-one time with some of the people in our DE circle, and I'm just like, holy moly, this guy's doing it better than me. This girl's, like, crushing it better than I had no idea that you had 4 offices and 9 associates. I'm just, like, always blown away. But everybody there is just so humble that you wouldn't know it and you wouldn't expect it, if you didn't take the time, or if those conversations didn't get up. And honestly, they're not even that important. You go to DE for you, and you go to DE to help other people, and really that's what the whole thing is about. So, in closing, I just really hope that you guys all have had, are having, or will have the experience that I have had through dedicating my life to principled chiropractic over the last 15 years. I want to thank everybody at DE. Whether you are somebody that I get the opportunity to sit down and chat with, if we don't have that type of relationship yet, just know that everybody's presence at DE, everybody's presence on these calls, everybody's presence in the principled chiropractic movement, has helped me in an infinite number of ways. So even if I've never talked to you, I truly want to say thank you to you, for being there for me whenever I needed it. Um, and and I also just wanted to say, if anybody ever needs anything, I am here. Like, even if Andy makes fun of me because I haven't been there in 6 months, I am here for you guys, and I always am willing to open up, any bit of knowledge, or just ear to bend, or whatever it might be, to anybody. Shoot me a Facebook message, or My cell phone number is 716-200-7264. Put that in your phone, shoot me a text message, whatever, and we'll get on the phone and we'll jam. Anything that I can do for you guys, I absolutely will. And I would just encourage you, as the great RJ Kelly, great late RJ Kelly used to say, pray first, aim high, and stay focused. If you do those things and you really mean it and you really dedicate your life to it, I know without a shadow of a doubt, it is fact that you will succeed to a higher level than you ever have before, or that you ever imagined that you could. And your life will be fulfilled on all different planes. One bucket won't be full, they'll all be full and filling over and flowing over, so you can give out of your own abundance. I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Again, if you need me, reach out. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Andy, for having me on.
My brother, you just dropped some bombs, fast, furious bombs. Awesome. What I want you to realize, people, is if you're new to DE or you haven't been to DE for the 15 years Dan's talking about, let's go back a little bit, Dan. 3.5, 4 years into school, and you were still thinking about going back to medical school. Is that right?
Yeah, man, I totally was lost. I like
Yeah.
to tell that story sometimes. I'm sure most people have heard it, but yeah, I was just like, I came to DE not really even knowing a lot. I definitely couldn't formulate what a principled chiropractor was or what they did. I had some influence from Brian Lieberman and a couple of other people, the maybe 60 days before going to my first DE, through the Band of Brothers movement, which was part of this call, and well, this was part of that, and really dove in there. But yeah, I mean, essentially graduated school, and I was so lost and disgusted with what I thought chiropractic was, that I was ready to change professions before I even dipped my toe in, before I worked a single day in the profession. So yeah, I mean, I was lost. I was probably about as lost as you could get.
So I guess my point is, if you're new to DE or you've never been to DE, you're a student and you feel like, what's this principle stuff? Because I know I was you about 10 years before, maybe 5 years before you, right? And so did you guys hear his conviction, his passion, his certainty? You know, that's what DE brings for us all. I mean, schools don't do it. I mean, and you went to one of the greatest schools in the history of chiropractic schools, but still, you feel lost. And
Yep.
for me and for you, I'm sure I'm speaking to the choir. Most people are watching, but there's a few people who are watching, maybe watch it later. They're like, what are these guys talking about? And
Yeah.
you can only get it in the room at DE.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a decent band of brothers that you can attach onto, like, these are the places that you're going to get it. And just stay plugged in. Life is a little different for us now, so sometimes I'm running just like other parents. And so, but like for the first, whatever, probably 6 7 years that these Tuesday night calls were on, we didn't miss a single one, not one, like never.
Right.
We never missed them.
Right.
We band of brothers every Monday night out in Rome, Georgia, an hour and a half away from me, every Monday for 5 or 6 years. I mean, like, we just were like, hey man, we're all in. Like, we gotta figure this thing out.
And for me, I had to figure it out. So I had to listen to this stuff so it could marinate within me so I could speak it out myself, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you're new to DE, just let this marinate in and watch this again and again, because you just dropped some bombs. And I think before we let go, I just want to make sure you said, hey, write down some things that you need to work on or you need to let go, whatever it is. And I would totally agree with that, but maybe only 3 or 4 things. Don't write a big long list. Make top
Honestly,
3 or 4 things.
dude, I honestly think, if it's my personal opinion, there is probably one thing in each individual's life that's back the 90% of potential that they don't feel like
Right.
that they are achieving. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think you tackle it one, maybe two things at a time.
If you write more than 5 things, rewrite it, figure out where the what the hierarchy is, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, brother. You dropped some bombs. It was awesome. Everybody get some great rest, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Be here.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Thank you.